Hey everybody, welcome to the offices of BridalLive. Here we are in Atlanta. Just wanted to go ahead and do this Facebook Live. We've had a ton of questions come in, and sometimes it's easier to just hear them all at one time. So I figured we'd go ahead and do this Facebook Live and start getting some questions answered. So before we do the question and answer, I want to just give everybody some clearer slides and a little bit more input as to how the portal works. What we've made, here it is on the screen behind me here. This is one of the themes that we've made available for shops to very easily customize it. But I'm going to just go ahead and run through some of the slides that we have available from yesterday's launch event, and just talk about the functionality once more in case you didn't get a chance to hear it. At the end of that, I'll talk about pricing and availability, and then I'm going to jump into any questions that you have during the presentation. So if you wanted to go ahead and log into, or you're already logged into Facebook, but go ahead and comment your questions during the presentation as I'm going through some of these functions. We'll get them answered at the end of the presentation, and we'll go from there. Shouldn't be any more than, let's say, 15 minutes or so. All right, so here we go. So let's go ahead and talk about what the client portal is. So client portal is a completely brandable, mobile-first digital experience that helps you reinforce your brand message and increase customer engagement, all while making it easier to buy and sell products and services from your business. So that's just a long-winded way of saying that the client portal will help you increase your closing ratio and reduce the cost it takes to service every single customer. So let's have a look at some of the functionality right now. So the first thing with the client portal, there's several features of the client portal, but what we'd like to talk about here is just the overview of all the functions that are available. So the first one is what's called self-registration. So gone are the days of being able to, or having to give the bride a clipboard with a piece of paper on it, have her fill out the information, and then enter that information into the computer. Now what you will do is simply give her a link to the portal where she'll log in and self-register, where she can enter all her event information. She can enter all her bridesmaids information and submit that information to you. It'll appear as a notification up at the top of BridalLive, and then what will happen there is you'll then be able to simply copy the bride's event information into BridalLive. So that is one of the great features there. The next is the Lookbook. The Lookbook I'll talk more in detail about in just a minute, but the Lookbook is essentially a curated collection of, we'll keep the slide on the overview right now. The Lookbook is essentially allows you to create a curated list of dresses that you can present to the bride prior to her ever coming into your shop. So it's a great way to extend your brand beyond the four walls of your showroom. The next is wedding party tracking, and this is my favorite feature. This will save you a ton of time and effort managing wedding parties. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then the last three, submitting measurements, making payments, and signing sales agreements. Those all happen within the portal as well, and we'll talk about that briefly as well. All right. So let's jump right into the Lookbook here. So how the Lookbook works is that you'll go into BridalLive, you'll specify which items you would like to have added to the Lookbook. There are a ton of different options and ways that you can customize what shows up, whether you want to decide whether or not the dress is available to be found on the Lookbook. So those functions are available. And they don't have to be dresses that are only loaded into the marketplace. Any item that you have in your inventory can be shown on the Lookbook. So one of the ways that the bride arrives at the Lookbook feature is through the appointment confirmation and reminder emails. And how that works is whenever you book an appointment in BridalLive, you know how the smart flows kick off, right? Well, when those smart flows kick off, you can include a link to the to the Lookbook, and the bride can begin favoriting dresses before she ever comes into your shop. So just put yourself in the shoes of a bride right now. booking an appointment. Maybe she just got engaged and she's out Googling all the shops in her area, and she comes across your shop and one of your competitors, and she calls your competitor to book an appointment. And let's say the competitor had 10 o'clock available, and they agree that 10 o'clock the bride will show up for her appointment. So then she calls your shop, and you've got an 11:30 available, so she books that 11:30 appointment. So now let's fast forward to that Saturday. Well, before actually, she then goes into your lookbook, favorites some dresses, and you've got your brand messaging in there, maybe something like your day, your appointment, and you're working to really build that experience and extend that experience beyond the four walls of your shop to create a digital experience for the bride prior to her ever coming in. So now just think about that bride as she's in that 10 o'clock appointment in your competitor's shop. And she's invested all this time already with your brand, right? Prior to her ever setting out on her journey on Saturday. And now she's trying to decide, well, do I go to your shop, right? And of course she's going to go now. She's invested so much time. She's looking forward to that experience that she's going to have when she shows up to your store. And so we really feel that the lookbook is going to reduce several no-shows and give you the opportunity to sell to brides that you might not have had the opportunity to sell to before. In addition to that, when the bride comes into your store, you'll be able to pull several of the dresses that she had liked prior to her appointment and really create that personal buying experience that she hasn't experienced anywhere else. So I mentioned in the presentation yesterday that the most successful shops are going to be starting to combine data with the experience to really create an experience that is unsurpassed in your local competition, the other brick and mortar shops, and online, right? The online guys, although they're trying to move into it, they don't have that physical environment, that physical experience created. So that's one of the great features of the lookbook. All right, the next is with payments and sales agreements. So this feature really is all about saving you time and reducing the amount of time it takes to service every single customer that comes into contact with your business. So whether it's an out-of-town bridesmaid, whether it's somebody who maybe is having a layaway, right, that you need to make a payment collection on, or maybe it's a bride who's paid her final balance and still has a balance left, her dress has come in, and you want to reach out to her and let her know that it's time to pay her final balance. Instead of playing phone tag and everything, now what you can do within BridalLive, it's very easy on any transaction or from within the contact profile. What you can do is very easily click the request payment or request measurements, and what will happen is she'll get an email, she'll get a notification letting her know that she can click into the portal and submit her payment information, sign the sales agreement if you'd like, and all of that information, once submitted, will be filed underneath her profile. So the next function, my favorite function of this whole thing, is wedding party tracking. So maybe you do bridesmaids today, and if you do, this feature is going to save you a ton of time. Maybe you've been considering doing bridesmaids but are worried about how much time and effort it's going to take to manage all the geographically dispersed members of the party. Or maybe you have stopped doing bridesmaids because you were just tired of all the back and forth. This feature will allow you to do bridesmaids in a more affordable way. How? Because this feature will turn your brides themselves into part-time employees that pay you. Let me explain how that works. So once the bride is registered on her event in the portal, right, and you've made the bride's profile and built out the wedding registry, or she's built it out for you, essentially, she'll then be able to log into the portal, and from within there, she will be able to start nudging her members along the process. So if we take a look here, you'll see this is a screenshot that I've made of a sample wedding, and some of these members are partially through the ordering process. So you define the ordering process in BridalLive once as a setup step, and your account managers can help you with that. You've made it really easy. There's a lot of examples. But you'll define the ordering process, and then when the bride visits the portal and sees her wedding members, what she'll be able to do is very easily nudge her members along the process, and those members will begin receiving text messages or emails, whichever one you'd like, or both, and whichever template you've specified. So you can say, hey, it's time to get your measurements in, right? And she can either the bridesmaid can either click a link to go in and place her measurements and submit her measurements through her portal, or she can get her measurements done out of town and submit those to you via the portal, or come into the shop, right? So that's one of the ways that the event manager or the event tracking feature in the portal works. So the nudging of the members is the key feature there. All right, so let me just jump through some of my notes here. So one of the biggest questions we had about yesterday was people were loving the functions. They were saying this is exactly what we need. It's something we've been working a long time to make. We've put other things on the backlog and prioritized this very high because there is a lot of competition out there, and we want you guys to be as successful as possible. So we felt that this tool is what was really lacking, right? We're trying to remove the administrative work completely from your lives if we can. This is a feature that addresses several of the feature requests that came out, and so we feel like this is a great move forward. But one of the biggest questions was, what is the pricing and when is it going to be available? So the client portal is a new product from BridalLive that works in conjunction with the core BridalLive platform. And we're releasing it at an introductory rate of $99 per month for the first store. If you're an Elite Plan member and you have multiple stores, then it's $99 for the first store and $49 for each additional store. And when is it going to be available? We're rolling this out. We're putting the finishing touches on it now. Lindsay's been testing it very heavily across all the browsers, all the devices, and making sure that it's rock solid before we even allow folks to get into the beta program. So we are going to be rolling this out over the next 2 to 3 weeks in the U.S. And abroad, it'll be a little bit later than that because we've got to do a lot of translations for the various languages that BridalLive is available in. So that'll come likely in September sometime. All right. So getting started is super easy. How that works, as with anything BridalLive, right? Everybody has an account manager that they work with today. So under the Contact Us section, reach out to your account manager when the time is right, when you're ready to move forward with it. They'll help you walk through everything, get it set up, get the colors matching your brand's color theme, get your logo loaded in there, get all your wedding party ordering process specified, maybe any email templates that you might need as well. And if you are interested and you want to be one of the first few to get the product, then go ahead and send us an email to help@bridallive.com or post in the Facebook group. We are keeping track. There's over, I think, 50 stores now, I think we saw, that are interested in getting this. So we want everybody that is really enthusiastic about it to be the first in line. So go ahead and let us know about that so we can reach out to you when it's finally available. All right, so let's go over to the question and answer session real quick. Let me see what questions we have. Looks like a good group online here. Okay, when's it available in the UK? So I was saying earlier that we're going to be rolling it out in September. How much for multiple stores? $99 for the first store, $49 for each additional store. How do brides access it? So the way they access it is it's not publicly available. It's something that they have to first come into contact with you, either via an appointment or making an order. And then from within BridalLive, you would send links. The portal is going to come with some email templates that will make it very easy for you to just fire off an email with a link to the portal. But every individual customer is going to have their own personal view of the portal. Only the information that they've done with your business is going to be available. So their order history, if you'd like that to show up, there's a little timeline in there that shows them, their relationship with you, other things like their measurements and stuff like that. That'll all be available either by sending them a link to the portal dashboard, or in the case of requesting a payment or requesting measurements or sales agreements, that information will be available right then and there via a deep link to that deep page. Okay. Is this an app? It's not an app. It's a website that is accessible on any device. We felt like putting an app download in place was going to reduce the number of people that actually were to use your portal. So we wanted to increase engagement as much as possible with brides. So it's very simply a website or a link that they would bring up either from their text message or from within the email. So for online payments, which credit card system is available to be used? Right now we are working with Charge It Pro and Stripe. So Stripe is very easy to get set up. You can go into the settings, point of sale settings area, create a Stripe account, and then plug your Stripe credentials into BridalLive, and that will allow you to begin taking payments through the portal via Stripe. The Stripe rates are a little higher than the Charge It Pro rates. And those of you that don't use Charge It Pro and have your own merchant account, this will be a great way for you to be able to take online payments without having to set up a separate merchant account. Will it integrate with my website? Yes, it will integrate with your website in a way that is not like the web forms today, right? The web forms you embed directly in the website. The portal, how this works is it will be a link directly to the portal, and it will have your colors and your branding, but it will be served from a different URL at the top. It won't be your store's URL. However, you can embed that if you have programming capabilities to do so. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Brooke says, our rates are quite a bit lower than Charge It Pro. Okay, that's cool. You can use Stripe. And it's really up to you as to which merchant account you'd like to use. Can brides and bridesmaids both pay through the portal? Yes, they sure can. You can send a link from any transaction in BridalLive to any customer. It doesn't have to be the bride. Can we hide the ship dates on dresses? It depends where you put the ship dates. Actually, no. Yes, you can, because with the new version, we've modified some of the settings in BridalLive, and so it allows you to show and hide a bunch of different things. And when you show and hide those, they apply to the portal as well as to the receipts and things. In addition to the client portal, when we roll out version 3.3, we're going to have a new feature that nobody knows about yet that we're calling lead times, which allows you to automatically calculate based on your manufacturer's lead time. It allows you to automatically calculate the estimated arrival date of that dress and have that included both in the portal and on receipts, whether that's an emailed or a printed receipt. And it'll also show up inside of BridalLive. So that feature will become available with 3.3 that rolls out with the portal. Let's see what else we have. You're welcome, Jen. All right. Oops, I got to click into the page. Okay, so just 4 comments. If you guys have any other questions, I'll stay on here for a little while longer, but just wanted to get these questions answered for you. Anybody else have anything, feel free to go ahead and post those comments. Good one. So Lauren's behind the camera helping out here. So how do you upload private label gowns? So any item in BridalLive can be added to the lookbook. So you can, even at the item level, uncheck the box that says show on lookbook. So you have full control over what appears. Your store item name is going to appear. As with anything customer facing in BridalLive, the store item name is going to appear there. So if you do private label and you call, let's say, a unadvertised line, might have the vendor's style name be 123, and you might call it the Dana dress or something, then the Dana would show up on the portal lookbook. Another question? Canada. Canada will become available as soon as North America. We're rolling out North America first, so Canada will be included in that. Thanks from Canada. integration with Squarespace. So Squarespace is a web design company, and it really is going to operate outside of that. There won't need to be any integration. If you're referring to Square as the merchant account provider, then there won't be integration into Square. You use Stripe for your merchant account processing. But if you're curious as to whether or not the portal will be embedded into your website like the web forms are, it's not. It's something that lives separately from that. However, if you do have the technical capabilities to pull parameters off of the URL and embed the portal into your site, then you can do that. Your website would just have to support that level of technology.
How do we see a photo in a lookbook that's not from the marketplace?
Great question. So how do you see a photo in the lookbook that's not from the marketplace? So how that works is the cover photo is what's going to show on the marketplace, on the lookbook. So if you want to very simply upload a new image, maybe an image that you took in your store or some other image that you found online somewhere, you can just very easily upload that image into the items picture manager and then drag that image to the cover photo, and that's what will show. What else do you have? I think Ashley asked in the community a couple questions in there in one post. Let me take a look at that. What's that? Color. So the colors are completely customizable. We have, I think it's 6 or 7 themes that you can just pre-select from. I think a lot of folks are going to like those. But if you have a certain specific, let's say pink or teal or something that you use with your branding that you want to match exactly, then it's possible, because those themes are just a suggestion. You can always override those colors and use whatever color you'd like. In addition to that, the fonts are customizable. I think I saw Josh had something like 25 different fonts in there now. So any font that's available from Google Fonts, which is a huge repository of fonts that your web designer is probably using already, we can match that exactly. We want the portal to be a extension of your already existing digital brand. So it's very important that it's customizable. The wording in there, a lot of the wording is customizable. The images are customizable. The hero image that's right there, you can change that. You can upload one every different month. Maybe you have a current special going on. So that image is completely customizable, as well as the greeting, and a whole bunch of other things are customizable in there. And we really tried to make it something that you can play with and really make the best representation of your brand. What are the questions?
How will wedding party tracking work with tuxedos?
How will wedding party tracking work with tuxedos? Good question. Right now it's geared more towards maids. However, in BridalLive you can have a wedding registry, and it can be men. So that could very simply show, and you probably can't see this from there, but it would just show up as other members in the party. However, you can also do something where the groom is created as a contact in BridalLive, and then within the groom's profile, you would create, he would have his own event registered, so all the groomsmen would be listed under the groom, all the maids and maybe flower girls would be listed underneath the bride, and that information would be also available to groomsmen. Now we did also yesterday or actually it was Monday, Brett from Jim's Formal Wear announced that we have a formal partnership underway right now, so look forward to a lot of exciting things coming from Jim's. We're working with them to be able to import orders from Easy Tux and import all their styles into the marketplace, and a whole bunch of other great things coming from that soon. Any other questions, Lauren, you've seen come in? Customer-facing pictures from the portal. Oh, you want to see what the portal looks like right now? So we have it available in our testing environment. We just don't have it readily available to stream out on Facebook right now. We will start posting some more pictures about what it looks like, some of the functionality. If I go on the slides back to the first screen, there was a screenshot of the dashboard and the lookbook and a few of the other things. So that might be helpful to you. What else do we have?
Would you recommend having iPads or laptops set up as locations for customers to add their information?
I think it's probably going to be very easy if you want a customer to add their own information to just very easily text them a link to the portal. You can do that while they're in the shop. If not, then what you could do is have an iPad. The intent long term, I mean, this is the first rollout of the portal. We're by no means done. We're just opening this up and making it available. We've got a lot of plans down the road, like social shopping and a whole bunch of other amazing things. And the goal is to remove the need for you to collect any information on your devices. But if you wanted to, you could give an iPad directly to the customer after opening up the portal from their contact profile and have them fill out their information right there. So you can do that. You can use iPads. Laptops you can use too, whichever, just easier to use in your shop.
How to hide certain dresses based on budget and
Hide certain dresses based on budget. I haven't heard that one yet. There is a price filter on the lookbook. So you have the option of including the price filter and not including the price filter. So on the left side of the lookbook, you have all the different filters, like the designer that you can choose to allow them to filter by designer or filter by department. They can also filter by attribute if you add attributes into your items. And they can also filter by price. So if they don't want to go over $1,500, then they can exclude all those dresses. But it's up to you if you want to allow them to do that. It would just be a setting that you'd turn off on the lookbook settings page inside of BridalLive. Live date. So just sent a message to our team. What we're trying to do is be as open about this as possible. We want this to roll out with no flaws or as few flaws as possible, because a lot of times on bride-facing technology, we don't get the feedback like you guys are sending to us when something's not working quite right. So we're testing this all over the place. We're testing it on all devices. We're testing it on Windows, Mac, Chrome, Firefox, all the browsers, mobile browsers, and everything. So we want to make sure it's right. And the goal is to, over the next several weeks, and it's hard to say a specific date, but the goal is over the next several weeks to really be removing all these small little things. Hey, this isn't lined up right on Chrome, on Windows. All these different things that come up that Lindsay's finding, that the rest of the team is finding, and we want to just make sure it's spot on when it's rolled out. And yeah, so when it's going to be available, I think we're going to be able to wrap that up, before the beginning of September. So the stores that have expressed interest, that have emailed us and said, I want this now, hopefully we'll be able to be reaching out to you in the very beginning of September. Any other questions? No? Anything else come in here? Let's see. Okay. It's a good thing to start looking at software early. Make sure you know how to program prior to opening. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully this has been helpful. If you're watching this after the live event, then hopefully it's helpful there as well. Like I said, email help@BridalLive if you want to use this. We will be rolling it out to those who have expressed interest first before we make any large product announcements, saying it's open for everybody to start enabling. So that is very important. If you want it soon, before everybody else, email us at help@bridallive.com. Your account manager, once it becomes available, your account manager is going to walk you through getting it set up and making the most of it so you can start really seeing the benefits of this. All right. Thank you so much.